Rich people don't have problems, they have hobbies that look like crimes. If you think you've seen peak financial stupidity, oh no, this is just the appetizer. 1. A billionaire in London once sued his yacht builder because the boat wasn't quiet enough. He wanted the engine to hum like a whispering monk, but instead it apparently sounded like, an engine. Meanwhile, the rest of us are thrilled if our used Honda starts without making death noises. But for him, slightly audible horsepower was a human rights violation. The case dragged through court until both sides spent more in legal fees than the GDP of a small island nation. The lesson? Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy lawsuits over boat purrs. 2. A hedge fund manager demanded his interior designer repaint an entire $20 million penthouse because the shade of white was too cheerful. Not too dark, not too bright, too cheerful. Imagine being emotionally threatened by eggshell. He needed a different energy, which is rich person code for, I need my walls to match my soul. After 2 weeks of repainting, he declared the new shade sufficiently tragic. Meanwhile, the rest of us are covering landlord paint stains with posters from Target. 3. One millionaire canceled a luxury safari because the elephants weren't photogenic enough. Yes, the elephants. Not the room service, not the 5-star lodge. The elephants didn't look Instagram ready. I guess if you're rich enough, even wildlife needs to audition for your approval. Imagine the manager pulling an elephant aside like, sorry Dumbo, you just don't have the jawline we're looking for. Meanwhile, the rest of us are thrilled if a pigeon doesn't poop on us during lunch break. 4. In Los Angeles, a wealthy woman filed a noise complaint against her neighbor's gardener because the hedge clippers disturbed her meditation. Of course, her meditation took place on a $30,000 Balinese daybed, imported solely for Instagram yoga photos. She wanted silence while she found her inner peace. And by inner peace, she meant the satisfaction of making sure the working-class man with the hedge trimmer lost his job. Inner peace achieved. 5. A Wall Street executive once tried to write off his thoroughbred horse as a business expense because he claimed it was an emotional support animal. He said the horse helped him cope with stress after a tough day of moving numbers around. Picture him crying into a martini while his accountant desperately explains the IRS doesn't accept comfort pony as a tax category. Honestly, I hope they audited him and sent him a bill written in hoofprints. 6. One celebrity couple refused to stay at a luxury hotel in Paris because the gold fixtures in the bathroom looked too yellow. Too yellow. The faucets were real gold, but apparently not the right vibe of gold for brushing their teeth. Imagine being offended by a shade of precious metal. That's like rejecting oxygen because it wasn't flavored enough. Meanwhile, regular people are brushing their teeth in water that smells vaguely like copper pipes and somehow surviving. 7. There's a Saudi prince who once flew his pet falcons on a private jet. Not one falcon, 80 of them. Each bird had its own passport and seatbelt. The cabin looked like a medieval army invaded first class. And the crew? They had to serve drinks around a wall of feathers. Meanwhile, the rest of us can't even bring nail clippers in our carry-on without being treated like a threat to national security. 8. A Silicon Valley millionaire reportedly threw a tantrum because his luxury vacation villa in Bali didn't have fast enough Wi-Fi. The resort had infinity pools, private chefs, and a literal jungle view. But the upload speed wasn't up to Silicon Valley standards. Imagine flying across the world to paradise, only to cry because you couldn't live stream yourself enjoying it. Somewhere, an underpaid hotel worker had to nod politely while this man explained that slow Wi-Fi was ruining his spiritual journey. 9. In Monaco, a banker complained that his Rolls-Royce was scratched by another Rolls-Royce. Apparently, traffic jams in Monaco are just luxury car demolition derbies. He was devastated, not because of the damage, but because it meant he had to drive his backup car, which tragically was a Bentley. Can you imagine the humiliation? It's basically like being forced to wear last year's Rolex. Thoughts and prayers. 10. One tech billionaire built a panic room in his mansion, not for burglars or kidnappers, but because he was afraid of his own staff. He didn't like how much his private chef knew about his diet. So now he has a custom bunker with reinforced steel, biometric locks, and a minibar. Just in case hiding from your housekeeper makes you thirsty. Meanwhile, the rest of us panic when we hear the landlord's footsteps in the hallway. 11. A celebrity once returned a $100,000 diamond necklace because the box it came in wasn't luxurious enough. Forget the diamond. She was personally offended by the packaging. Imagine walking into a store and being like, yeah, this flawless gem isn't bad, but the cardboard? Unforgivable. Honestly, I want to live in a world where people judge gifts based on the wrapping paper. At least then, I could win Christmas with a roll of glitter tape. 12. A billionaire's son famously crashed $1 million Ferrari and said it wasn't a big deal because Daddy will buy me a new one. And he was right. Daddy did. Meanwhile, most of us crash a shopping cart into a Prius and spend the next 6 months hiding in the Aldi parking lot like fugitives. But hey, it must be nice to treat Ferraris like disposable soda cans. 13. In Beverly Hills, a woman called her lawyer to sue her pool company because the water wasn't blue enough. That's right, not clear, not clean, not safe, just not Instagram filter blue. Apparently chlorine is out and Pantone color charts are in. She wanted her pool to match her throw pillows. Somewhere, her lawyer is making 6 figures while drafting a legal argument about aqua versus turquoise. 14. One oil tycoon shipped his personal car collection, over 30 luxury vehicles, across the ocean just so he could drive them during vacation. That's not vacation. That's an international car parade with customs paperwork. Each car traveled in its own padded container like a diva being escorted to the stage. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just trying to get our checked bag back from the carousel without a stranger stealing our toothpaste. 15. A fashion designer once complained her private jet was too small because she couldn't fit her full walk-in closet inside. The jet had leather seats, gold trim, and a champagne bar, but no wardrobe rack. It's hard to feel sorry for someone who basically says, yeah, this $30 million aircraft is fine, but where do I hang my gowns? Honestly, I think Spirit Airlines should offer a luxury closet seat just to mock these people. 16. A Russian oligarch spent over $20,000 to have snow imported to his villa in Dubai. For Christmas photos, actual snow, flown in from somewhere cold, just so he could pose in front of a frosted pine tree while wearing Gucci boots. Meanwhile, people in Minnesota are out there drowning in snow and begging for spring. Rich people literally pay money to import the thing everyone else spends 4 months trying to shovel off their driveway. 17. A Hollywood actor once demanded a hotel install a special $15,000 bed for his dog. Not him, his dog. The canine needed orthopedic memory foam, silk sheets, and a view of the pool. Imagine a bellhop dragging in a miniature king-size bed while the dog just licks itself, oblivious. Meanwhile, my dog sleeps in a laundry basket and thinks it's a luxury suite. This is why communism trends on Twitter once a week. 18. A billionaire in New York once filed a lawsuit because the helicopter pad on his skyscraper penthouse didn't have the right energy flow. Not unsafe or badly built, just bad vibes. He claimed the pad wasn't aligned with his personal aura and therefore made landing stressful for his pilot. Imagine spending $50 million on a home and then complaining that the feng shui of your rooftop helipad is off. Meanwhile, I'm over here praying my Uber driver doesn't miss my street again. Rich people problems aren't measured in dollars. They're measured in the exact angle your helicopter faces the sunrise. 19. A wealthy heiress once sued her parents because her monthly allowance of $5,000 was not enough to maintain her lifestyle. That's right, she took her own family to court because shopping money wasn't flowing fast enough. Her legal argument was essentially, but I wanna. She wanted luxury handbags, exotic pets, and emergency cash for things like spa trips. Imagine standing in front of a judge explaining how your biggest hardship is being forced to downgrade from Gucci to Coach. Meanwhile, the rest of us think we're splurging when we grab guac at Chipotle. 20. A tech mogul in California reportedly commissioned a $1 million treehouse for his kids. Not a simple fort with a rope ladder, but an actual architectural masterpiece with air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and a stocked minibar for sleepovers. This wasn't a treehouse. It was a guest house that happened to be elevated 10 feet off the ground. Imagine explaining to your kids that they can't play outside because contractors are installing marble countertops in their tree. Meanwhile, my childhood treehouse was 3 planks and a family of wasps. 21. One celebrity chef once demanded a hotel remove every single clock from his suite. Not because they were broken, not because they were ugly, because time stressed him out. He wanted to live in a timeless void, a luxury purgatory where deadlines and checkout hours didn't exist. The staff actually complied, creating a 10,000 a night black hole of time. Imagine being so rich that your solution to stress isn't therapy. It's making bellhops physically erase the concept of time from your presence. 22. A billionaire's daughter once hired a personal water sommelier. Yes, apparently that's a job. The guy's entire role was selecting which brand of bottled water paired best with each meal. Sparkling with seafood, glacier melt with dessert. Meanwhile, the rest of us are drinking tap water that tastes faintly like sadness and lead pipes. If you ever wondered how the rich stay hydrated, the answer is expensively and with professional guidance. 23. A Russian oligarch reportedly bought a $300,000 parking space in central London. Not the car, just the space, and he barely used it. It was essentially a rich person trophy, like buying air you can stand on. Meanwhile, I'm circling the grocery store lot for 20 minutes, trying not to dent my Corolla in between two giant SUVs. The difference is, I cry when I can't find a spot, and he brags about owning one he doesn't even use. 24. A millionaire influencer once demanded a refund on her private jet rental because the champagne glasses weren't crystal. She still got champagne, she still got the jet, but she complained the drinking vessels weren't sparkly enough for her Instagram feed. Imagine calling customer service like, "Yes, hi. The luxury aircraft was fine, but the cup didn't reflect light in a way that said wealth." Meanwhile, I'm just happy when my glass doesn't still smell like the dishwasher. 25. In Dubai, a wealthy man once installed an actual ATM in his house. Not a cash dispenser linked to his bank, but an ATM that only spat out gold bars. Yes, gold bars. He treated precious metal like snack-sized chips you just grab on the way out the door. Imagine walking into his foyer and seeing a machine like a vending unit for pirates. Meanwhile, I'm feeding wrinkled $5 bills into a real ATM and praying it doesn't spit them back. 26. A celebrity once refused to stay in a hotel because the thread count on the sheets was too low. And by low, I mean 900 thread count instead of 100-200. This woman could not physically endure the trauma of slightly less luxurious cotton touching her skin. She demanded an upgrade to a different suite because clearly her pores can detect textile math. Meanwhile, I've been sleeping on the same Walmart sheets for 6 years, and I'm still alive. 27. A Silicon Valley billionaire bought a private island but then complained to the locals that the ocean waves were too loud. Yes, the ocean. He wanted engineers to somehow turn it down. You know, the tides, controlled by gravity and the moon. He literally wanted to mute nature because it was interfering with his conference calls. Meanwhile, the rest of us are thrilled if the neighbor's dog finally shuts up for 5 minutes. 28. A banker in Switzerland once tried to sue his golf club because the grass was too green. Apparently, the color was unnatural and distracted him from putting. Yes, his brain was overwhelmed by the audacity of chlorophyll. Imagine filing legal paperwork claiming grass offended you. Meanwhile, half of America is out here painting their dead lawns green with hardware store spray cans just to fool the HOA. 29. A celebrity fashion designer once built a $200,000 fish tank for her exotic collection of koi. The tank was equipped with mood lighting, temperature control, and a custom filtration system that probably cost more than an ICU. And the kicker? She admitted she was not that into fish, but liked how the tank looked with the furniture. Meanwhile, my goldfish lived in a glass pickle jar for 2 weeks until it went belly up. 30. A royal once delayed a flight full of passengers because he couldn't find his favorite watch. He refused to board until staff searched the entire palace for it. Hundreds of people sat in economy waiting for a grown man to find his shiny wrist toy. Meanwhile, the rest of us are sprinting through airports with one shoe untied and a backpack full of trail mix, grateful if TSA doesn't confiscate our deodorant. 31. A Hollywood producer once hired a professional sunset curator. Yes, someone whose job was to ensure the producer always had the best possible view of the sunset, wherever he was. The curator would scout locations, adjust lighting, even time wine pours so the vibes were perfect. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just standing in traffic, squinting at the sun through a smudged windshield. But hey, at least his sunset had good PR. 32. A millionaire hedge fund guy once bought a vineyard in France, but then complained the grapes were too sour. That's right. He discovered that grapes, the thing wine is literally made of, didn't taste like the wine. He demanded the farmer sweeten them. Imagine being so rich you don't understand how agriculture works. Meanwhile, the rest of us are buying boxed wine and calling it an investment portfolio. 33. A wealthy lawyer once paid $10,000 for a haunted mirror because he thought it might give him good luck in court. He placed it in his office and genuinely believed ghost vibes would help him win cases. Spoiler, it didn't. But hey, at least the paranormal legal team was well represented. Meanwhile, I can't even afford a regular mirror that doesn't have toothpaste stains. 34. An actress once demanded a resort in the Maldives drain their pool and refill it with Evian water. Not tap water, not bottled water. Evian. Do you know how many bottles of Evian it takes to fill a swimming pool? Thousands. It's basically turning hydration into environmental terrorism. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just hoping our municipal pool has less than 40% kid pee in it. 35. A billionaire once complained that his $100,000 a month private chef was too creative. The chef had been making Michelin star meals every night, but the billionaire wanted normal food, by which he meant dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. Imagine being so rich you can buy the world's finest culinary talent and then fire them for not serving you Lunchables. Meanwhile, the rest of us are burning frozen pizza crusts and calling it rustic. 36. A Saudi prince once shipped 2 entire camels by private jet because he didn't like the camels available at his destination. The plane was loaded, not with passengers, but with 2 confused animals looking out the windows like tourists. This wasn't livestock, it was luxury livestock. The funniest part? The prince didn't even race them. They were just his favorites. Meanwhile, I can't even convince Delta to ship my suitcase to the right city. 37. In Los Angeles, one actress delayed an entire film shoot because her trailer didn't face the right direction for her morning light routine. Production stopped while crew members rotated a luxury RV like it was the International Space Station. She wouldn't work until the sun touched her cheekbones at the correct angle. Imagine burning $500,000 in production costs just because someone wanted to look like a Renaissance painting. Meanwhile, the rest of us are begging fluorescent lights not to highlight our eye bags. 38. A billionaire in China once spent millions building an exact replica of the White House in Beijing. Not for business, not for politics, just because he liked the aesthetic. He doesn't even live in it. He built it to throw parties. Picture the founding fathers watching this from heaven, realizing their legacy is being used as a backdrop for champagne fountains and karaoke nights. Meanwhile, I'm over here taping aluminum foil over my windows pretending it's insulation. 39. A wealthy tech founder once commissioned a custom coffin for his dog. Not just any coffin, a climate-controlled Italian marble, LED-lit sarcophagus. The thing looked like something you'd bury an Egyptian pharaoh in, except it held a golden retriever. The ceremony was live-streamed with drone footage, because apparently nothing says grief like a GoPro hovering over your dead pet. Meanwhile, I wrapped my childhood hamster in paper towels and called it a day. 40. A European royal once ordered the palace staff to iron his shoelaces. Not wash them, not polish the shoes, iron the shoelaces so they'd look crisp. Somewhere, a servant spent hours flattening fabric cords with a hot iron while probably questioning every decision that led them there. Meanwhile, I can't even find both laces that match, so one of my sneakers is tied with an old iPhone charger. 41. A millionaire in Dubai installed a $10,000 air conditioning unit in his doghouse because heaven forbid a purebred pug experience mild discomfort. The doghouse had better climate control than most hospitals. And the dog? It probably still preferred lying in a pile of dirt, because dogs don't care. Meanwhile, my dog thinks a box fan is luxury. 42. A Russian oligarch once hired divers to retrieve his sunglasses from the bottom of the sea. Not special sunglasses, not historic, just a pair of designer shades he dropped off his yacht. Instead of buying a new pair for $600, he spent thousands on scuba divers to retrieve the exact ones. Imagine a team of men risking their lives underwater so their boss could wear the same Ray-Bans he could have replaced at an airport kiosk. 43. A Hollywood starlet once refused to walk barefoot on a beach during a photo shoot unless the sand was filtered. The crew had to sift an entire stretch of shoreline to remove ugly shells and pointy bits. She literally wanted artisanal sand. Imagine arriving in paradise and demanding an Instagram filter be applied to the planet. Meanwhile, I'm still shaking rocks out of my shoes from 2014. 44. A banker once bought a luxury Swiss chalet, then complained that it was too cold. Not the weather, the actual house. He expected the Alps to come with central heating like a Vegas hotel, so he spent millions installing underground warming pipes in the Alps. Meanwhile, every ski bum who's ever shivered in a cabin is screaming, "You bought snow, my guy? What did you expect, Florida?" 45. A wealthy CEO reportedly spent $50,000 having his favorite childhood swing set rebuilt in his penthouse. Full size, bolted into the floor overlooking the skyline. He said it helped him feel grounded. Meanwhile, the rest of us are trying to ground ourselves with therapy and Target candles, and this man's dangling from a penthouse jungle gym like Peter Pan in a business suit. 46. A famous pop star once flew her personal bubble bath water from her mansion to her tour location. Yes, bottled water, heated and shipped across continents, because she claimed her skin didn't react well to local tap water. Imagine trucking gallons of bath water like it's a diplomatic mission. Meanwhile, I'm lucky if I can squeeze in a 5-minute shower before the hot water runs out. 47. A Middle Eastern billionaire reportedly paved a section of desert highway in marble, so his supercars wouldn't get scratched by sand. He literally turned asphalt into a runway of polished stone. Picture a Ferrari driving down what looks like a Roman palace hallway. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just trying not to lose a hubcap on potholes the size of craters. 48. An heiress once paid $100,000 for a psychic to cleanse her mansion of bad energy. The bad energy? Her Wi-Fi kept disconnecting. She thought her router was haunted, so instead of calling tech support, she burned sage in every room while a woman in beads shouted at the walls. Spoiler: the ghost was just Comcast. 49. A billionaire in Silicon Valley once bought a second mansion directly across the street from his first mansion, just so no one else could buy it. He literally purchased an entire house as a human do not disturb sign. It sat empty, fully staffed, with no one living there. Meanwhile, I'm begging my neighbors not to blast EDM at 2 a.m., and this man bought silence for $30 million. 50. A wealthy tycoon once imported snow leopards as pets, then complained they were too wild, as in, he wanted apex predators to act like cuddly Labradors. He eventually gave them away when one looked at him aggressively. Imagine buying endangered carnivores and then being shocked they weren't into belly rubs. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just trying not to get scratched by our cats. 51. And finally, the crown jewel. A millionaire influencer once faked her own bankruptcy because she thought being relatable would get her more followers. She staged Instagram photos of hard times, like eating instant noodles in designer pajamas, or posing in front of a Toyota Corolla she rented for the day. But she made one tiny mistake. Her poor person apartment still had a Versace rug in the background. Honestly, it's poetic. Rich people pretending to be broke, while broke people pretend they're not. If that isn't the dumbest financial full-circle moment in human history, I don't know what is. Now it's your turn. Which one deserves the gold medal for dumbest rich person meltdown? You know what to do. Hit like, subscribe, and brace yourself, because trust me, it only gets dumber from here.